Hello and welcome to this video on how to make a 3-tier wedding cake. So this is my first video and I think it will actually be a series because I already have about 4 hours of footage and this is just the second day that I have been filming. So let's look at what we actually start with. I'm not really good with colors, so you can see that I was trying to implement this color scheme that she had already decided on when she sent out her invitation cards. And prior to this project I actually never really tried to make another flower than a rose, so this was all pretty new for me. Yeah, so without further ado, let's actually jump right into this. So let's start with a quick tour of my workplace. Here are some random flowers. There you can see a rose that I'm just working on, some leaves, some cherry blossoms, other stuff that I use for my gazebo that I'm going to show you later. And then we also have some gel colors. I was looking through all my stuff, searching for them, thinking that I had used them. As you can see, I already made last December when I was making a birthday cake for my friend, but in fact they were just lying around on my desk between all the other stuff that you can make. In the next clip you can see me making the calyx out of green pre-colored Renshaw petal paste. I was too lazy to actually do it in the color that my friend used in her invitation card, which has some sort of blue undertone, but you can already see that I'm molding this paste for ages, and even though I sped up this video clip 8 times, it is still excruciatingly long, and honestly my laptop could just not handle that I sped this up by 16 times, so it is kind of slow. But anyways, you can see what I'm doing. I'm forming this calyx and then attach it to the base of the rose. I didn't do this in my previous project because I told you I'm not that much into color, and often you cannot even see the base of the rose when it is in a cluster with other roses. So this is just a detail, cosmetic detail. If you're a perfectionist, you definitely want to do this. At this point I had to pull the brakes. I tried to render what I had edited so far, which amounted to about 3 to 4 minutes of edited video footage, and my laptop crashed 3 times while trying to render it. But luckily I had just bought a new laptop, so instead of trying to salvage what I had done so far, I just transferred all the data onto my new laptop, and now I'm editing with new software on new hardware. And this is what you're looking at right now. Next up, we are going to do the leaves. You can see that my cutters come in 4 different sizes, so that you can have some variety with these leaves. Oh yeah, by the way, calyx only 3 different sizes. They tend to be too small, I think, in my opinion, just for the roses that I make. But anyways, you already spent so much money on this equipment. Also, I have a veiner. This makes the veins on the leaves and makes them look more realistic, gives them some structure. What you want to do, you first cut them out and you place them in the veiner. Don't forget to put cornstarch on them. Oh, also I don't have a pasta machine to roll out the paste, so I normally just eyeball it. And then when you press down on the leaf with the veiner, you can also you press harder on the sides so that the sides are nice and thin, even though you leave the middle a little bit thicker so that you can actually put the thread into the leaf and it doesn't come out on either side. Then there at some point you see me kind of clutching the leaf in my hand, and I do that when I pre-cut several pieces because they tend to dry out a little bit, and if you warm them in your hand they're more pliable and you're less likely to break the leaf when you work with it. So I definitely recommend that. Now you might realize that I'm not describing every step of this, because I also just learned this from a video tutorial made by Nicholas Lodge and the people behind these molds that I'm using, which is Katie Sue Design. So definitely check them out, and then if you want to see another take on how to do this, I'll come back to my video. I also definitely recommend getting this bumpy foam mat that you see in the background, because when you dry the leaves on these mat, they look a little bit more realistic because they have some shape. They're not just completely flat. So yeah, consider buying that stuff as well. So after crafting the leaves, you want to let them dry for at least half an hour, maybe an hour. And then you want to brush off the excess of cornstarch that you had on them so that they didn't stick to the mold. And then you are going to slice your florist tape into half width. I do this using this florist tape slicing device, which is just basically 7 pieces of plastic held in place by 2 screws, and then you can place the razor blades inside it in the desired position to cut your band, your tape, I mean. So this is actually the most challenging for me, because this tape, it's just not easy to handle it. And you can see that it takes me a lot of time to assemble the cutter in the way that I want. I first even did it wrong. I cut this out so that you don't have to watch it, but still, after we arranged all of this, we are going to assemble 3 leaves each into a sprig, yeah, I think you call it that. And then it was actually recommended in the book that I have with all the explanations on how to do the whole sugar crafting flower thing, that you take a small leaf and then 2 bigger ones, or the other way around. But I just think that it's better to have them all the same size. Looks more harmonious to me. Anyways, that's my choice. You do whatever you want. You tape them together until you have a nice little twig. It's cute. Fun fact, the only micro SD card I was able to locate in my flat was one that I got in 2016 when I went paragliding, and I bought it to get all the GoPro footage of me being in the sky. So please enjoy 10 seconds of 2016 me flying. Some of you might be wondering how I even made these fair blue roses in the first place. I wasn't going to show you, but luckily my friend Felicity was interested in also getting a rose for herself, and she wanted it in pink. So I just took some Renshaw petal paste, white and pink one, mixed it together to get like a lighter pink shade, and then I started with the petals. This is like a medium size rose cone, so you also want to take your medium size rose petal cutter, you cut it out, you place it in the weiner, and then you roll the ball tool over the edges to make them frilly, and then you're going to assemble it all into a rose. Repeat the same steps for a second layer of petals and attach them to the cone with the few petals that you already made. Here, very important, make sure to round the base of the rose so that you can fit the petals around the base nicely, and you get a very organic, natural shape. After you're done with the petals, hang the rose upside down from a rack if you have one. If you don't, just look around in your household. I realized that I actually have this kind of bar under my table, and it's perfect for hanging flowers. And that's all for it for now. I will make a second video. I actually crashed the software with this one as well, even though it is all new, and I tried not to speed it up too much. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this first part. I will talk more about the rest of the flowers in the second part, and then there will probably be a third part where I assemble the cake and show you how it looked like in the end upon completion.